welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to start on this 1963 Ford Falcon Ranchero, or I don't know, whatever they call them. I bought this from my dad about 3.5 years ago or so, knowing it needed a bunch of work. He's a little busy. Sat at my brother's house for a couple years hoping to get rewired. None of us really know much about the car. I was told it was originally an automatic car. They decided to put the 3 in the tree, so now the column shift. I don't think they really did that great of a job on it. Let me get your light on. These rods down here are just kind of randomly bent rods. They may be original. And then here's some of the reasons for wiring. This is a hot wire that kept grounding out, we found. Runs good. I don't think this is original motor. I think this tag says 200 on it. And in 1963 the 200 wasn't offered, but we don't care how original it is. I know these cars aren't the most sought after for some reason, but I think they have a really good looking body line to them, I think. So we picked it up decent priced. It's been kind of tore apart. Somebody was doing some body work. I don't think they did that great of a job. We're gonna have to do some fixing here, the tension here. I'm not a fan of white. I like black, but everything's white. They painted the trim. I don't even know if they really even did much. They just shot paint over everything. The seat's not bolted in. This is our wiring harness that we bought. For the most part, extra spools of wire. And it came with boxes of parts that we haven't went through yet. There's some trim. An old school stereo we might be able to get to work. Possibly. And just more parts. I'm just going to have to go through all this. Looks like there's some seals, the floor plates. These are for the rear panels back there. Our main concern is getting this thing running better. It runs okay. I know the carburetor needs a rebuild. I got to figure out what carburetor it is. It's a single barrel. I don't know if it's Holley or not. I don't know much about these. Doesn't look like a Holley. It has another sticker on it. You can see it's pretty wet down there. Has a really major exhaust leak here. I don't even think that donut's really even in there anymore. Other than that, it runs really good. My number one thing I want to get started on today is I want to get rid of that column shift. So I ordered this Hertz shifter from, I think I got it from Auto Crafters. As I said, I got this from Auto Crafters. It just looks like they basically are just selling a Hertz shifter kit. I opened it, make sure it came with. I ordered this extra trim plate and boot, and I saw one box. I decided to go ahead and open just that part. But other than that, I don't know what it all comes with. Oops, screws are falling out. It's always good packaging when the screws fall out. Alright, Alright, well, it has the... Please read. A couple of screws, just got my screws are loose. It came with a boot and ring. Well, that's weird because it said they suggest to order this part number, but it comes with one. Well, that was an extra 50 bucks I didn't have to spend. That was nice of them. Well, as always, we're gonna take our time and see how good these instructions are. Alright, so I went through these instructions. I got the car up on jack stands so I can get under it good. For the most part, I understand a lot of the instructions, but it seems like every kit that I get that's supposed to be a universal fits, I get lots of extra parts, which is, I don't mind extra bolts and stuff. When I'm having the most difficult finding out here, so I know how these parts here go. These are transmission. I know where all this hardware here goes. It doesn't cover any of these pieces whatsoever. These U-bolts it doesn't cover. All this extra hardware it doesn't cover. This is if you have an interlock for steering wheel on your steering column, so that doesn't work for my application because I don't have one of those. I'm stumped on how this attaches to this when it's said and done. Look in here, it covers how to mount to the transmission when all this is together. Great. And then it just says pick your hole for the location to drill it. And then all of a sudden over here, I don't know how it attaches, because you can't attach it with this because this is an adjustable, spring-loaded for these to move freely. And in the photo, this shifter has a flat plate. Mine's not. So they do have a website I'm going to go to somewhere on here. Hertzshifters.com. I'm going to go to that. I have everything else figured out but how this mounts to that bracket we're putting on. So why mount a bracket if this can't attach to it? I mean, I can always weld it. I have no problem welding stuff. I mean, once I get these brackets fit and they're tight and I get everything tight, I'm going to pull them off and weld them anyway. So, all right, from what I gather, once all this bracketry is together, bolted up, and it's tight, take the bolt out of this, make sure you realize how the spring and everything's in there, and then you take this bolt and you line it up with one of these holes, and then you get it. That's how you find where this goes so you can drill your hole. And then this bracket piece then can be welded to this one. All right, first thing, we're gonna get these pulled. It looks like somebody put cotter pins in it. Huh. All right, well, that one was easy. What about this one? Nope, I gotta get something. There's that one. Get that out of there, and that's dead now. All right, we'll crawl underneath and get all that off. The car's got a little rust that I think they may have fixed, looks like. Exhaust is gonna have to be redone next. It's the cutest little transmission I've ever seen. All right, let's get that. So that must be neutral for that one. Neutral for that one. Take these off. Okay, save the washers, nuts. And now we need to figure out how to bolt this thing in here. It looks like it bolts to, I think, these two. This looks a little homemade, but that's all right. And then I don't know where that stiffener bracket bolts to yet. So let's get that assembled. And it says it can go either way. depending on application. That. It says the stiffener bracket bolts there somewhere, but I don't think our transmission had that. Alright, well, let's just go under there and see what we can come up with. And it looks like this must go through that giant hole, I'm assuming. It's not fitting very good, is it? Alright, so I decided I got the speedo cable out of the way. I unbolted these brackets, mainly because there's not a lot of room up in here. And it hits my brake and fuel line, which is fine. I think I'm just going to cut some of that off back there. And then this lower bracket, the way it goes up in there like this, these upper bolts don't line up. So I'm going to trim the back, this one, see if I can get it up in the place. Oh. And since that doesn't work, I'm gonna see if I can just weld that on there or come up with my own system, because none of this is working right. The way these are supposed to bolt together, like that spacing down there is too far apart. So here's what I come up with. This bracket needs to be bent in a little bit further. I'm gonna have to mark where this bolt is because of this. It's hard to see on camera. There's this casting lump, and I want to make sure that hole's a little bit more centered. So I'm gonna cut this apart, bring this in and weld it back on. This bracket right where this is at, I'm gonna tack weld this on. I need to mark the spot approximately here to where I can still get my speedo cable in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, this needs to be brought in because I went ahead and took this off, and this needs to go up in there a little further. So I'm kind of hoping that I can want to break. I want to come in here somewhere and cut this part. I might bend it in a little here, but I want this to set more out here, and then hopefully those rods will still line up good, but I just don't have the clearance in this floorboard for this transmission tunnel. And then I'm going to take this bracket when the clamp is out of the way, and I think I'm going to try and make it to where I can still twist to this bolt and still have some way to support it. I was going to put it on top on this bolt, but the very top of this transmission's got a lump and it won't sit correct. I don't know if I can get the camera up there, but there's this lump up here it hits. So I'm going to go ahead and get this off. I'm going to hope this don't move, but I will. Maybe I'll mark it real quick. That's about where I want it. And then it's about the center of my bolt. All right. Here's what I came up with. I took this lower piece, I welded it here. I notched this out, it's a little sloppy, I'm gonna clean that up later. And then I cut up here where there was like an oblong. I cut that out and I bent this in here. Let's see what else. Oh, there was another one of these that I filled in here for strength. And then I took a piece of the lower bracket and welded it in here. And I also shortened this up. You can see I have a little flaw in there, but this should hold fine. Now I need to get under there and make sure this is going to be where I want it, to where I can still fit the shifter piece on this side of it. That way I can get this mocked up. I need to get that welded on. And a possible lower brace depending on how wiggly this is going to be. So let's get under there and see what it looks like. Well, that looks good. Check the speedo cable. That. Let's see here. All right, that still fits. That's great. Okay, and I gotta go flat. Oh, there it is. And that piece will fit up in there still. So it's bolted in. The top one's not tight yet because I gotta take this back out. Speedometer cable clears. The shifter looks like it's gonna clear good. I'm hoping that the shift linkage also clears this cable. I mean, I can always reroute it here to give it a little bit more height. So I need to mark out where I want to put this hole. It looks like the hole goes on the side of the hump, which is fine. I thought it was going to be on the top, but I guess I can't do that. And then we'll start getting these laid out because these need to go in here. I guess it could also be this one. It says try and get it upright. It's too upright. It's down too far. So it definitely looks like it's going to be this notch right there. Need to get both of those put in. Still not sure. We're gonna have to bend them brackets a little bit, it looks like. Maybe too much of a kick on this. But any less, it won't clear. All right, I'm going to fiddle with the fit of all that, and hopefully I can come up with a solution because it looks like that shifter's kicked off a little bit. So that's going to work fine. I don't know why I have my doubts, but I always do. I was wrong on how this was going to be. I thought it was going to be flush up with this, but then the way the shifter sits in, you want this part more up. Take it off the stand. I did some exploratory marking. There's a hole right here that I used the die grinder to get through that, but technically it's going to be more back in this area. So by the time that's down in there, this shifter should be about in that orientation. I'm hoping, right? But over further, obviously. So how I came up with the correct angle, let me put you down. I just used the digital angle finder and I got about an approximation of just eyeballing, and then I just set that on there. I think I came up with like 66. It's a little bit forward, but this is still adjustable when you put it in. This piece is more just the guide, because by the time you can adjust those shift points, it won't be too bad. And then I just reached up in there and got that. I think it sets about like this under there. But that's just how I came up with it. I'm gonna get this bracket welded, let it cool. I'm gonna clean this up. I gotta get it painted, because when I put it in there this time, this will also be part of it. I'm gonna get that hole drilled in the floor. I think it said to start out with like a 2-inch hole, and then you can make adjustments from there. I'll probably just hole saw, you know, and that might be 2-inch, I don't know. Just enough, and then I'll make little trim pieces. I'll trim pieces off as I need. Well, it took a few days for the paint to dry at 30 degrees out here, but finally got it done. Got it reassembled. In the meantime, I had to get some more parts ordered for this project. I want to redo the exhaust and some other stuff, rebuild the carburetor. I found out it is a Ford carburetor. I went ahead and hope I didn't make a mistake, but I drilled the 2-inch hole to start with. If it's a mistake, looks like we're doing body work. I think it's close enough. I think I had a creeper around here somewhere. Look, I got a pile of them. Let's see. No one just wants to stay folded. Oh, there's a creeper under there. Huh. Found it. All right, let me get a headlight on and we're gonna get under there and get this thing put together. All right, well, let's see if we made a mistake. Alright, well, I'll finish tightening that up later. Now, I gotta figure out, well, there's the finished product. It does clear in that hole. Definitely gonna have to be doing some trimming, but that's fine. Oh, I gotta get this in there. Gotta figure out where that bolt went there. Get that in. We gotta figure out which one of these is first and reverse, and the other one should be second and third. So this side first and reverse, this side second and third. So, and then we're going to start bending these bars. Since they're a rigid bar, we can pretty much bend them however we see fit. So if we need to go above or below or whatever. Oh yeah, and I got a trim one because this one goes down and it hits right here. So we're going to take that off and trim that, because that, let's see, I think that's neutral. And then this one, when it goes forward, it'll hit the same spot. So we're gonna take this off and trim that there. Okay, so under there, this is the slot we're using. This is the one we gotta cut off for our application.
phone.
All right, that's in. Put this shift lever back on. When we start doing our adjustments for these, we got to make sure the neutral. So there and there. That should be the neutral position. Okay, so according to our instructions, that's front of transmission. This back one here needs to go to this one here. Perfect. Short rod. Oh man, it almost lines up. Alright, I need to get a marking utensil. And I'm going to mark this, and then we're going to go up and try and get it bent into... we should maybe shoot for the outside. Maybe we'll bend it. Anyways, let me get a pin. Let's do a bend back here. And then I think we're going to have to do a bend back here. Okay, let's go get this bent. Okay, I'm gonna go test fit it. A little bit more of a bend than that. All right, I'm gonna go test fit it again. Okay, I went ahead and made some pretty extreme bends in this, but it fits nice. It's a little loose. I'm not sure what it's going to look like when it shifts, because we got to do some trimming up above. I'm going to leave this rod long until I'm done. This rod, I want to come in on the other side over here into the hole. This mount sucks. And mark it way back in here. I'm going to try and get a bend that comes past all this, and then I'm going to try and bend it right back into the outside of this one. So I'm going to go get that done. So that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm not sure if that's going to hit or not yet. Oops. That one seems to work pretty good. Not hitting nothing. Works good up here. The other one's more difficult. There's that spring that holds it in. So I think we need to... I'm going to put some clips in this to hold it. And then go up above, and we're going to see what we have to do up above, because my hole's off a little bit looking at it from down here. So that's where we're at. Well, that's what it looks like up here. I think definitely need to go forward more and a little bit back. I did say 2-inch hole. I probably should have went up higher. All right, looks pretty good. It hits a little there. Probably hits a little there. All right, we got to do some adjustments underneath. The forward needs to be adjusted underneath to where it's about there, and I don't hit my hand on that. Well, my battery went dead, and I thought I was showing you guys stuff. Over here, I went ahead and moved this from the bottom to the second notch. And then also on these shifts, I moved them just down a bit to get some of this swing a little shortened up. Let's see. Now when you go into first, it doesn't smack. Still a little close up here, but I ordered a new gauge set and I think I'm going to relocate that anyways. Then when you come back, it just barely hits right here. So I'm going to take a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit right here out. Well, that should do that. I'm hoping I don't have too big of a mess there. It is cockeyed a little bit, but nothing I can do. These little tunnels on these cars are just too small. But it's going to work for what we need. Now we got to see if we can get a boot to fit. Looks like it should at least cover the hole up. I don't know if the smaller one would have worked or not. I just opted, since I paid an extra 50 bucks for this thing, we're going to use this one. Well, for now I'm going to call that a success. I'll throw the shift knob on. I'm going to get this thing removed out of here. But I think that's going to be good. And then this will just break in or whatever. Can't test it yet. I'm hoping that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 all, or 1, 2, and 3 in reverse correct, according to the instructions.